All right, guys, let's talk about this. I pride myself in having these kind of topics. These are not the kind of topics that are going to generate a lot of buzz out there. We're not doing this for the video, popularity, right? We're not doing this for the clicks. We're doing this because we're real video game degenerates, right? These are the kind of topics that you really have to love video games in order to enjoy this subject matter. So, for those of you out there sitting through this video that do appreciate what I'm trying to do over here, I really do thank you. Now, let me ask you this. When is the last time that you spoke seriously about Pac-Man? I like a serious conversation about Pac-Man. It's just not a throwaway or just kind of remember, just a serious conversation about Pac-Man. Probably for me, it was Pac-Man, I think 99 when it came out on the Switch. That's the last time I was, really enjoying Pac-Man. But, a lot of us tend to think of these IPs, right, because they're older. And we just kind of take them for granted. We don't take them seriously. We don't put respect. Remember that dude? Put some respect on my name. Yeah, we don't put respect on Pac-Man's name, man. And I want to take a closer look, right, and kind of remind ourselves, especially people in my generation, and maybe people of another generation. Maybe you're a young person out there, and you don't realize the impact that Pac-Man had over the years, right? Let's talk about this, right? And this is based on an article I put out there for the members. Shout out to the members out there. The phenomenal success of Pac-Man, a look at its lifetime revenue, right? That's what I wrote about. And because we don't think of terms of Pac-Man as a moneymaker nowadays, right? We did back in the day, but not nowadays. Now it's kind of a throwaway, kind of a meme joke, kind of, just remember all these bad games. But let me tell you something. Since the introduction of Pac-Man back in 1980, it really became an iconic game franchise that captivated players of all ages, number one, right? So it had broad appeal. It had simple and addictive gameplay, recognizable characters, and those were really the key successes of the Pac-Man license. And when you examine the estimated revenue, right, because a lot of this was in cash, guys, so it's a little hard to gauge. So before, I even get to the good part, you guys take a guess, right? Before you know what it is, you guys take a guess. Don't Google it, just take a guess, right? Based on your experience and what you think Pac-Man has made over the years. So let's take a closer look, right? So in the really early years, Pac-Man's initial release, it really became an arcade revolution and really started the fever of, wanting to have arcades and multiple machines, because Pac-Man reportedly, right, grossed, and this is where the cash part comes in. We can only know the minimum, right? The minimum that it grossed in arcades, just coins going into the machines, is $1 billion globally. That is a staggering figure, guys. $1 billion, right? Even by today's standards. Can you imagine what $1 billion was back in the 80s? All right, it's a ton of money. Right, that really is what cemented Pac-Man in gaming history. And, from then it went on to the home consoles, including the god-awful 2600, which a lot of people blame for the beginning of the crash, along with E.T. and everything else. But when you think of home consoles, guys, don't think of just, how many carts it sold, right? And by any accounts, they sold millions of carts around the world of Pac-Man. Even the crappy, the crappy games, right? But think of the licensing deals, right? That's also revenue for the company. It's not just based on how many units were sold. It was based on just signing the deal. So a lot of it came from that. Another place where Pac-Man was groundbreaking, right, is because it began the merchandising craze, right? Beyond video games, Pac-Man's success is extended into various forms of merchandise, brand expansions. You had cartoons, licensing the image for anything, clothing, toys, accessories, whatever you want. And it created substantial revenue for the IP. And Pac-Man's characters became iconic throughout the 80s, right? And now you get into the spin-offs and sequels where, you know, somebody else could make them. You could just ink the deal, you know, like and television should be doing, right? And they did that, right? They really did that. Pac-Man's popularity led to the development of a number of spin-offs. Titles like Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Jr., that was awesome, by the way, with pinball. That was awesome. Super Pac-Man, that added like new gameplay and stuff like that. So, and we're not even talking about the knockoffs out there, the Chinese knockoffs that came out afterwards. Pac-Man was eating Pepsis and sodas and all kinds of hot dogs, all kinds of stuff. And then, right, you start coming into newer formats. Let's talk about digital distribution. Let's talk about mobile gaming, right? Two new areas for Pac-Man, and a lot of the older gamers, that's how they play Pac-Man now, right? The rise of digital distribution, mobile gaming, revitalized the franchise, right? So now you have Pac-Man on platforms like Xbox. There, you know, it used to be their live arcade. Now you have PlayStation Network where you can get it. You have mobile apps that you can buy, and a lot of figures not publicly available, right? But, you know, they're out there, you know, for a certain segment of the population. That's all we could do is a minimum approximation, right? And now let's talk about the money. Let's talk about the money. Because all we can do is minimums, because so much of Pac-Man has been transactions in cash, right? Though the exact figures probably can never be found exactly, and you know, I'm sure a couple of guys had a couple of sweet deals where they hid some taxes. The minimum estimate, okay, the minimum is $2 billion. So it made $1 billion in the arcades and at least $1 billion after the arcades were dead, right? From its arcade dominance in the early 80s to continued success with other machines to licensing, it has proved to be a highly lucrative IP, right? And that's Pac-Man. There's other minor ones. So if you own an IP, you can make money. There's ways of making money with it, right? Pac-Man's financial success has been nothing short of remarkable, guys. The franchise's ability to captivate audiences of different generations and adapt to changing landscapes, right? Because Pac-Man 99 is a perfect example, right? Now you're selling, I mean, I bought little skin microtransactions because I wanted to play with Dig Dug and all this stuff, right? So it's still generating revenue. And even though the revenue is not publicly available, we know that at a minimum it's earned $2 billion, and that's just insane. And you know what? The iconic yellow character continues to gobble up money. And, you know, when it comes to Pac-Man, he reminds me of the Chappelle Show. Remember the guy with the with the truck at the end? Where he goes, "I'm rich, bitch." That is Pac-Man in a nutshell as far as the IP. Put some respect on Pac-Man's name, because that man, that little yellow dot munching white dots all over the place eating ghosts, has generated a minimum of $2 billion. Those are figures you can take to the bank. All right, guys, thank you for joining me on this topic. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my channel. I hope I earned your subscription. And don't forget, if you want access to these early scripts, you can become a member for 99 cents, and you get to contribute in one way or another, share your opinions, what have you. And if not, I'll put snippets out there. You know, I usually do a preview, and I'll try to put a preview out there for you. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Guys, take care. I hope you enjoyed this video and I earned your subscription. Make sure to hit that like button. And if you'd like to, please subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.